Uh, wait. Is it working yet? It's probably just literally loading up as we're speaking. And there we go. I think we should have sound now. Apologies for that. Can you hear? Good. Okay. Sorry. I realized as I was setting up, I haven't set up my microphone. Anyway, we're back in the game. Apologies for that. For whoever's watching this after the fact, is going to be like, "What is going on?" I might have to edit this and re-upload it, but in any case, hello and welcome to the News Burst with me, Christopher McLeod, AKA Diagnostic 80, brought to you by Generals Joe's REBORN.com, and now with sound. Yes, of course, we're going to be looking or talking about classified leaks today. Now, of course, a lot of images have been going up this week of kind of in hand. What do you call it? This is from the budget cuts after you had to send the check for my Covergirl pics. Indeed, Jeremy Kimberlin. So I didn't have to. That's a joke. I didn't have to send him any money. But yes, we've had obviously a lot of images come through of retro Covergirl, courtesy of Jeremy Kimberlin. We had images courtesy of Jay Khan of the more images, I should say, of the Tele-Viper kind of like what was it? It was the test shot and deco sample. Same with Flint. And on top of that, last night was it? The crystal ball shield, lenticular shield images have dropped, and my goodness, that looks crazy. Yes, I'm a time traveler from 2015. Thank you, Scott Skeen. Whoever said something said about my hat, but thank you very much. I appreciate it. Michael Jean Fleming, yes, thank you very much. This is my Marty McFly hat. Anyway, it's hypnotizing, isn't it? See what I did there? Anyway, yes, we've got a lot to get through, lots of images to look at. We're going to kind of go through all of the images and a little chat on that aspect of kind of like the retro figures that we're seeing sort of in hand at the moment. And then we will look at the crystal ball stuff. We'll check out that shield. We'll have a bit of a refresher on what we know so far in regards to the figure. And then we will go through the listings, all the usual stuff. But then I do have a couple other things I wanted to talk about. So at the end of this episode, after that, I want to look at ROM, specifically the carded image figure of the figure that they dropped today, didn't they? They look amazing. Anyway, ROM specifically, and another little special thing that I've managed to do with Codename Iowa related to the late Aaron Dietrich, which we'll talk about at the end as well. But yeah, let's get stuck into it. We've got a lot to get into, a lot of images, so let's do it. Let's go back to the future, says Stygian. I'm just stealing your things that you're saying, even though, yeah, I'm the one with the Back to the Future hat. Anyway, Jeremy says ROM looks good, but I needed Banshee and Dakin. Well, like I said, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I will say I'm looking at that ROM carded figure, and I'm just like, this is amazing. So live classified images of the retro figures have been posted, like I said, by Jeremy Kimberlin, who posted these lovely images, or sent these lovely images of his in-hand Covergirl. Now, what Jeremy did was he did a lot of sort of like head swapping, showing the different options you have available with the figure, and also popping it onto the OG Covergirl body from the classified series to see, kind of like what that looks like. So pretty cool stuff. So we'll get through all of these. First off, of course, I thought I would do, so the situation is you have removable heads, but you also have removable hair pieces. So you can have the same head sculpt shown here with the different hair looks, which obviously makes so much sense, doesn't it? So we've got the long hair blonde version on the left, and we've got the kind of braided long ponytail with cap on the right. I have to say, I think this figure looks absolutely phenomenal. I think the head sculpt's great. I was never really one of those people that had an issue with the first Covergirl. I really do like, she's a prominent place of a place of prominence on my display, kind of like looking at her tablet fixing a Skyhawk. which is pretty cool. But yeah, like I've never had an issue with that head sculpt that a lot of other people did. But this one is great, and it really does, highlight her sort of model background. The look obviously they're going for is the one from the Mass Device. So it's nice that even though this isn't a Mass Device kind of what's the like packaged or marketed or call out sort of figure, it's on a retro card, but I don't think it's going to have Mass Device anywhere. They might do. That's another thing I haven't really thought about yet, because we haven't have we seen the carded we haven't seen the carded version of this. We've only seen renders, haven't we? Of course. So it'll be nice to see what they do with the card, if there's a Mass Device call out, or if they don't bother with that and they just keep it like, that it like it isn't. But that's something that I didn't even think about. It really wasn't, Paisano. You're saying that the first Covergirl was worse than the first Falcon. Not even close. I'm sorry. I have to disagree. The Falcon head sculpt, that first Falcon head sculpt, is the worst. Like that is an outlier in my opinion. And anyway, coming back to this one. Yes, because we haven't seen the packaging yet. I'm assuming it'll just be a retro card back. Of course it will. Why wouldn't it be? But I wonder if there'll be like a little, I don't know, like a little Mass Device logo or something on there. Chuck says, totally off topic, but the hypocrisy of Marvel Legends so-called fandom hated the live stream but sold out 4 of the 6 figures in the new wave today. I mean, that's every fandom, isn't it? I think. And in any case, yes, the card, like in terms of what this card back's going to look like, I don't know, but I assume it'll just be your classic one that we've seen so far. And not with it would have to be with the regular explosion, not the digital, because there isn't really precedent for this one, because Covergirl was only available as a with her Wolverine, so therefore she didn't have the sort of singular card art. But this, I don't know, I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the artwork. I'm looking forward to see just what they do in general with that card, and to see if there is a little call out for Mass Device. But who knows? But I don't think it will be. It seems very clear that the Mass Device specific things are going to be specifically Mass Device themed in terms of the packaging. But yeah, don't know in relation to some of the periphery characters who are clearly also Mass Device related. Ed says Sparta had card art. Could be cool for them to homage that design. Wouldn't surprise me if that's where they go, Ed. Honestly, that's a really good shout. Yeah, so anyway, that is the first image. Then, of course, we have the smiley face, which, again, is a wicked head sculpt. Amazing. Looks great. I have no notes on this figure. I love the additional extras. Love the fact we've got this Pitts Garage cap with a... or garage is what I should say. I shouldn't say garage. I've been in this country too long, haven't I? Pitt's Garage hat. I kind of want that hat. We might have to get that hat made. Like, that might have to be a thing that gets made and created, because I need that hat. I need a Pitt's Garage hat. I need an off-road visor that Crankcase is going to be coming with. I need... what other hats are there? Alpine sort of hat, kind of helmet cap. It's like a helmet cap. It doesn't make any sense, does it? I guess there's the red cap that Crazy Legs has, but I'm not a massive fan of wearing a red cap, honestly. Anyway, I want that Pitt's Garage hat so bad. It's so awesome. You put the carriage in the garage. You put the carriage in the garage. Exactly. The garage in the garage. Yeah, I put the carriage in the garage is exactly what I do, Scott. I definitely think we need this. We need this cap, though. It's phenomenal. Heavy duty, yes, Cal. Heavy duty's cap as well. It's all like including that kind of like weird bended fold it has in the peak. That kind of like curled up, kind of like really folded up. So weird. But yeah, I want that too. For sure. This should be a Mass Device figure instead of retro card. Well, Viper Scout, I sort of agree, But I wonder if there'll be some sort. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I wonder if the card will have that sort of like call out on it, or if it's done slightly differently. Because it'd be nice to do like something different. It'd be nice to do a different card back, even if it's not specifically something we've seen before. It'd be nice for them to do something different with it, to create some sort of like themed retro card back that we've never seen, that hasn't actually existed. I know it kind of defeats the purpose of like recreating something retro, but you could have something that has retro vibes, but something we never actually had. Or in this case, just a little logo with Mass Device on it would be kind of cool. Some people are saying that this head sculpt looks AI. I think it's just the exaggerated smile, isn't it, with all the teeth? It's probably what it is. How many fingers does the face have? What? My goodness. The Cheshire Grin is now starting me to think on recent Smile horror flicks. Yeah, Carl, there's one called Smile, isn't there? In any case, there's the other head on the actual classic body. Now, Jeremy also popped those heads on the original, the OG. I say the original, the one that we got first in the classified series, and it doesn't look too bad, honestly. Well, I don't know why it wouldn't really look bad. The head's still really good, but it fits is the main thing. So it's very cool that we've got you got options. If you've got both figures, you've got the option to put whatever head you want on, and the fact that you've got two like head sculpt options in package means you can quite comfortably switch the heads off if you want. So yeah, phenomenal stuff. Lovely. Thank you, Jeremy, for these images as well. There's the other head sculpt and hair options on the OG body. Then, as well as those images, we got the comparison image. Again, no issues with that Covergirl original head, but there are the two. Very different, aren't they? Very different. And it's not just the hair, but like the shape of the face, the look, everything about them is completely different. So it's really interesting that we have these kind of like multi-character figures in the classified, as in characters that have been different versions, I should say, and the head sculpts are vastly different on all of them. So like you've got that first Duke, and then you've got the retro Duke, and it's not even close looking wise. The Flint heads are very, very different. We'll be looking at Flint in a second, of course. It's just funny, isn't it, that you get a different version of a figure and the head sculpt can be like night and day. I'm not even going to say version 1 Falcon and Night Force Falcon, because I think we all know that. But there's the comparison of the two as well. Here is another shot of just how the character holds the gear. So the wrench, obviously, in that back loop on the belt. The pistol, of course, in the holster. Again, storage. I'm here for it. Lovely stuff. And also some shots of kind of like the other kind of like test shot or first shot, whatever they were, accessories as well that were unpainted. So you've got deco on the wrench, of course, with the blue, and then you've got the black, and the same with the pistol. You've got that kind of silver added deco that I think comes with the final figure. I can't remember what hang on. I need to look at the render, because it's only the official render is the only thing we've seen so far of her. And it looks as though the pistol doesn't have the silver on it. So it might be that the one we end up getting is the all black one. Jeremy, do you know which one is which? Because it looks like on the render it is the all black pistol we're getting with no extra deco on it. This is Paisano. In terms of the level of what figure this is, I think it might be like a late on kind of almost production sample, if not a production sample. Oh, you're comparing classified and retro weapons. Thank you, Jeremy. Okay, cool. So that first wrench then is what the first Covergirl wrench, is that right? And then the other one is, who is the silver one from? Who had that pistol first? I can't remember. Cannot remember. You'll let me know in the comments. It's cool. So yeah, so the weapon, the ones she comes with are the blue wrench and the black pistol, just for, if there's any confusion on that. Not pictured, that Jeremy didn't send us, is the kind of like sledgehammer. Oh, Hawk had it. Thank you, Toy Bounty Hunter. And both cover girls. Thank you, Ryan. Both Covergirl's original weapons and wrench. Brilliant. That makes sense. Obviously makes sense, considering the wrench was Covergirl's. So yeah, we don't see the sledgehammer or the figure stand. So just putting that out there. She did steal that wrench from Recoil's loadout, Peter. Nice kind of call out to Recoil's lovely blue weapons. Loston says, I love the head with the hat, the best of the two, in my opinion. Yeah, so you mean you've got your classic mass device homage, and you've got this new update thing, and a lot of people really like it too, which is great. And also the spare hands, which are two fists as well. So yeah, some other elements, of course, to be shown. And of course, we have the two weapons that the first Covergirl came with the shotgun, and this one with the what do you call it? Sunbow rifle. Yeah, that's it. Silver is classified, all black is retro. Thank you, Jeremy. Oh, brilliant, 610. Glad you caught a live, and thank you for joining. If the hat hair fits on Zorana, that might be fun. Yes, it might be fun, Liquid Identity. I wonder if it does. I wonder if like that is the case for all of the hair swapping figures, because that would be kind of cool. In any case, that is Covergirl, and there she is in a vamp as well, just to really kick it up a notch. And I think what I might actually do is when I get, because I've got a vamp here finally, I might do an unboxing. Who wants to join me for an unboxing of the vamp, even though it's way late? And I don't mean tonight, but I mean like maybe like on the weekend or something. I want to get that bad boy out. So maybe we could do an unboxing. I don't know. And then I kind of want to have Clutch and Covergirl in. Like Covergirl should be driving it though, shouldn't she? Really, Clutch can be forced to be the passenger. I don't think the hair will suit Shipwreck. Rude, crude, and tattooed. Genius. That would be kind of funny though if it does fit. I'm gonna try it. Unbox it, Chris. You know you want to. I do want to unbox it, and if you're up for it and you can join me, we'll do that on the weekend or something. Yeah, because I'm telling you, I've wanted this vamp for ages. Finally got my hands on one, and I'm excited, but I haven't opened it yet. So I think that's definitely something we could do on the channel. Maybe I could do what I did with the unboxing for the Dragonfly and have the aerial shot. We can do that, can't we? Just have to remember how I did all the logistics for that one. Anyway, that's Covergirl. Now moving on to Flint. So these are images now from Jay Khan. So thank you, Jeremy Kimberlin, for the previous images of Covergirl. Now we're moving into Flint, and of course we've seen the Flint render, so we know what to expect. And the figure on the right hand side of these images is the oh, you do have that image. Why did I not? Jeremy just sent me the image of the figure stand, the fists, and the sledgehammer. I just don't have that image at hand, so there you go. They exist. And they do come with that Covergirl, so brilliant. Thank you, Jeremy, and sorry for not including that in the images, but I think that's the first time I've seen them. Anyway, and I could be wrong, you may have sent them to me, it's not a problem. Anyway, Flint. So Jay Khan posted these images of both the test shot on the left and the deco sample, or I think we'll call it the deco sample, on the right hand side. And as you can see, yeah, as you can see, that's exactly what you can see. If you think there are missing bits and pieces, there are not. It's just the backpack is fitted to the figure on the right hand side, not loose and on the deck, and the pistol is in his holster on the right, where it is out on the floor for the test shot. So everything is the same. It's just one is a deco sample, one is for a test shot, and one is a deco sample. I don't know how they got their hands on these. I'm literally just enjoying the fact that we've got images of them. Then we've got some comparison shots of the two in different, perspectives and everything. We have, as you can see, there's a little bit less. Obviously, there's less deco on the test shot for obvious reasons. It's basically what they have at hand, usually with test shots, just to kind of see how the figure's going to operate. They don't care what color they throw in there for the plastic. They just get whatever, and they just run it, and they have a figure in order to do like testing for articulation and what have you. Comments on certain aspects of the build that they might need to change, that kind of thing. There is a bulky holster, isn't it? It really is. It really is a chunky holster, and I don't quite understand why. There must be a reason for it, and it might be one of those things that I have to ask them about after the fact, or we hear about it on the live stream, which I'm assuming will be soonish in the next couple of weeks, because they said later this month. I would expect them to do their live stream before Toy Fair, because I feel like they're going to have a presence at Toy Fair, and I don't know if it would, it'd be too much of a, it'd be too much of a crossover. So I think that's going to happen soon. In any case, comparisons. I will ask about that holster though, because there must be a reason why it is so chunky. But even that, I don't really have an issue with that. I look at this figure and I just think, I can't wait to get this Flint in hand. Flint is he my favorite character? I know you all think it's Lightfoot. Lightfoot's cool, but he's grown on me for over years because I did a cosplay of Lightfoot at both Joe Fest and recycled it for Assembly Required. But that is slightly different. I've kind of grown into the Lightfoot kind of love. Flint has been there since day one. He was the first Action Force International Heroes figure I picked up with Quick Kick. So him and Quick Kick are like very close to my heart. And not far away was the Tele-Viper, which we'll be looking at in a second as well. But in terms of like iconic, important characters for me, Flint is up there. And also, like, he was so synonymous, so prominent, I will say, in both the Marvel UK comics, the VHS tapes that we had access to. It was always Flint. It was Worlds Without End. He's plays a big part in that. He was in obviously Flint's Vacation, or Flint's Holiday, as we call it. We had, there's The Spy Who Rooked Me is very Flint centric. There's so many of the VHS tapes we had access to really strongly featured Flint. They picked the specific episodes because of the character crossover with the kind of figures they had, as action figures in the UK. But that said, love this figure. I can't wait for it. But these are just comparison shots really more than anything. And also, there was that worry. If you look at that figure now on the right hand side, seeing it from a slightly different angle, all of a sudden that beret does not look too high or stupid or pronounced or incorrect. I think this is an absolute beauty, and I'm really, really, really can't wait to get this one in hand. Here we see the kind of the wristwatch on the glove as well, a bit close up there, and some of the deco on the legs. You can see the difference, obviously, in deco and test shot from one figure to the next, in the back there as well with the backpack. I think it's only really just the red on the backpack, from what I could tell in terms of deco. Maybe the water bottle is a slightly different color, like a lighter green, but I don't think it is. Looking at that on screen and looking at the render, I think what they've done, I think it's just the way the light is on the water bottle, on the canteen, on his backpack. So I think, yeah, it's literally one solid color with just the red additions, and that's all you really need on that Flint backpack. Really, it doesn't need to be overdone. Green grenades, fine, they exist, so it's all good for me. Then, what are we saying? I'm missing loads of comments. Sorry, guys. I'm happy with the first version. Also, not a real big fan of Flint, so I won't buy this one. How dare you, Derek? How dare you? Just kidding. Again, we're all different in that sense, aren't we? Bryce says, "What wave is the Retro Viper with? I thought he was in the same as a Saw Viper." The Saw Viper isn't a retro figure, Bryce. So, Doctor Mindbender, the Viper, and Rock and Roll are retro figures. So that's a retro wave of figures. There's 3 of those retro card backs. And the Saw Viper is a standard retail wave of 4 classified release with Xandar, and the other 2, Dial Tone and Leatherneck. So that's a wave of 4, and then the retro is a different thing entirely. They have already been and gone pre-order wise, so they'll be showing up eventually in hand. They'll probably be the next in hand following Xandar, Saw Viper, Dial Tone, and Leatherneck. Yeah, again, Tiger Force. You could definitely do another Tiger Force Flint here as well, I think, and that is something I think they could get away with. Same, Chris. Flint day one, says Scott. Yeah. Lawson says, "This is the Flint I wanted from the get-go, so I'm thrilled with how things are looking here." Excuse me. Bulky holster is weird, but can't ruin my enjoyment of this. Yeah, it is. I don't know. I'm not that bothered. People keep pointing it out, and I keep forgetting it's there. So it can't be that bad. Leg holster can always be cut off and replaced with the original figs, says Scott. Maybe if you really want to do some customizing, I guess. But never the black shirt in Sunbow. True. I love Flint and Dial Tone. Waiting on a few more of my must-haves, Mainframe and Psych out. Yeah, that'd be great. And yet still no Lifeline. Indeed. That's 80s Toy Boy and Stygian there, sorry. Stygian also says, or Psych out. GL says Airtight. Indeed. I mean, there are so many figures, right? And I do feel like that list of what's left is still pretty massive. Ed says, Action Force by Marvel UK kicked off with the 85 team, so it makes sense that Flint was so prominent as the leader. Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. And we didn't get it till 87, so, you know, it's not surprising, really. Also love that he has the classic canteen. Yes, Loston. This Flint is awesome of an insta-buy, says Jeremy. Same for me. Delayed dial tone, says Toys, equals midlife crisis squared. Yeah, that's sad. Because the other 3 seem to be knocking about. Although I did see a dial tone not in hand. Yeah, it was in hand. So they'll probably get there. So I think it'll get there. Might just be some sort of... It might be related to that delay they were talking about at NYCC. Anyway, yeah, here's a shot of a close-up of the actual head sculpt as well, from the front and the back. And of course, that kind of, a little bit of close-up in general on the left there. I think it looks great. Love the hair. Love the beret. This is a good head sculpt too. Yeah. Paul got his from Amazon a couple of weeks ago. Cool. Again, so I think, it's just a bit of a weird distribution thing, isn't it? But yeah. And also, I also believe they're in stock on Hasbro Pulse, if I'm not mistaken. They, like Dial Tone was. He was, anyway. He might not be now, but he certainly was in stock. Same as, I think it was Xandar was sold out and the other 3 were in stock. That may have changed now. They got his second belt sagging to the right this time, says Ryan. Crucial improvement. Yes, indeed. It's a good look, that belt, isn't it? With the double belt. Captain 2 belts over there. A Warrant Officer 2 belts, I should say. Looks younger than version 1. Yeah, Diecast. The version 1 had that grizzled look. This one still has an age to it, but it's subtle. Yeah, so sort of like how I feel. He looks how I feel. I like the little kind of little eyebrow as well. I think that's very subtle and nice. Very cool. Dial Tone currently shows as pre-order on Pulse. Interesting, Bad Wolf Media, because I did see in stock when I looked not too long ago. So it may have switched. It might be like on, a different run, if you know what I mean. Sometimes they do that, don't they? Like they'll take them off in stock after they've sold out and go back to pre-order because they're doing another run of them. Scott says, all my notices from Hasbro have been for Schrodinger's figure, both shipping soon and delayed. BBTS filled my Xandar 2 days ago, says Cal. Good. I'm glad people are getting them. Definitely. There's more to get into here, so you should move through these images. So that's Flint. Getting into the Tele-Viper next. And again, this is another one I will have to say is up there, just as up there really with Flint and Quick Kick for me. The Tele-Viper in its classic form is a figure I've always loved, and it's just always fascinated me. I thought it was so cool in the cartoon, having the alerts and the text going across the visor. I don't know. I just thought it was awesome. Did I pre-order ROM today? Chris asks Darren. No, I didn't. Bad of me, I know. I'm hoping to pick one up in the natural environment, which is probably very foolish of me, but we shall see. That's my go-to, is to just pick things up in the natural environment that I'm in, not necessarily to go out crazy and do pre-orders and all that kind of stuff. And in some cases I will do the pre-order if I have a feeling that it's going to be really difficult. But sometimes I like the hunt. I do like the hunt. Make sure that's said clearly. So yeah, with the Tele-Viper, here we have a test shot on the left, and of course a deco sample on the right as well. And we can see some of the comparisons with these. This is the test shot in total, though, in full, just showing all the kind of ways around it. We have, of course, seen these images before. Well, not these images, sorry. We have seen the figure before leaked. So these are just more images in different ways to show all the different, things it comes with and all the different parts and so on and so forth. Again, from J Khan 7. Destro is my spirit animal, says, I live in Rhode Island and you never find anything in the hunt. True. It's so true. Jeremy says ROM is still available on Amazon. Cool. I'm sure I'll find it. It's not a problem. I do want ROM, but like I said, I'm not going to go absolutely nuts, fighting for it just yet. We'll see how it goes. See how I feel after this episode, because I'll be talking about it at the end. So yeah, moving through, we can see here a shot of the back of both the test shot and the deco sample, and as you can see, a bit more subtlety with some of that deco on the vest. So you got that kind of padding at a different color, which I really like. I just love all the little details on the new parts for the Tele-Viper, and I'm really impressed they went and did something so new on a figure that I thought they just needed to change the arms on, but they really did go to town on the Tele-Viper, and all the different heads with the different visor things, the alert, that all, of course, kind of make a link up to homages with the cartoon. Just brilliant. Hasbro needs to do a retro range Viper. Yes, they do, Rachel. I agree with you on that one. There are some that I think do need reissuing, and Range Viper is definitely one of those. Retro Snow Job Blitz is such a no-brainer for me. Just give him what he came with as a retro figure, the backpack, the skis. Just minimize it a little bit. Get him the laser rifle and just paint him white. Do you know what I mean? Like, just take off that extra deco they gave the first deluxe one, stick it in a retro card back, and then Snow Job's your uncle. Get it? Bob's your uncle, Job's your uncle. Get it? Okay, cool. Claymore incoming with the reuse, says Jeremy. Do you know what? That is not a bad shout. That is not. I didn't even think about that. The fact we've got Footloose, and although they would give him end, right? Okay, let's talk about this quickly, because if they were to do Claymore, I don't think they would just reuse Footloose's head, because like they have done obviously in the past, I think Claymore would get a new head sculpt, and quite rightly, he's his own character, and they do that. But Footloose's helmet, yes, Paul, that could be utilized. Kitty said, but yeah, that is a great shout, because obviously it would just be a case of, it would just be a literal redeco of this with a blooming new head sculpt on it. It'd be brilliant. Genius. You are a genius. Anyway, that's classified Claymore confirmed. Just kidding. I don't know if it is or not. Job is my uncle. Says hi, it's me. Perfect. Job's your uncle. Snow Job. I guess it's Job. It could be Job. I don't know. Anyway, there's me assuming things. Big Lob's your uncle. Thank you, Renard. They might use crankcases. Well, they wouldn't. This is the thing, GL. They don't use the same character head for a different character. If they do reuse a head, it's for a generic figure like the Halo Jumper. But if it's a named character, they don't tend to reuse heads. If that makes sense. I don't think there's been any. I don't think there's been any. And I mean unmasked, by the way. I'm talking unmasked because obviously they've reused helmeted heads, balaclava heads, for all sorts of different things. I think I can't remember the list now. I definitely had a list of this stuff. But when it comes to like an actual like head sculpt, open, no unmasked, what have you, they only really do generic reuse with it rather than an actual character. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. It's never say never, because they could do that. They could reuse Footloose's head. They could very well do that. It's a different head though. But Paisano, that's the same character, right? I'm talking about a different character. If there's a different character, they're not going to reuse a different character's head. Do you get what I mean? Didn't they use Falcon's first head for Unmasked Big Boa? Ed, come on now. That's hilarious though. Yeah, I just said Halo Jumper, but he's a generic figure. He's not a character. Keep up, people. Keep up. Okay. I'll stop talking about that now. Get back to the Tele-Viper. Here's a shot of the sides. We've got on the left-hand side, because we've got the test shot. We've got a sort of comparison shot there of the the deco sample. And then we've got a flip of the deco sample as well, just to really show you all the sides. Apart from I didn't have like a mirror image of the, what's it called? I keep forgetting the terms, the test shot. Paul says, I think they reuse Falcon's head for pork belly. It gets better. Anyway, moving through, and here we have comparison shots of the Tele-Viper for test shot with the old deco sample. Now, have we got more Tele-Viper stuff? I think we do. We've got the heads close up. You can just about make out the alert on the one on the right bottom there. The ones on the top is just the same each time, blue. I don't even know why I added them on there. I mean, it's just fun to see them in blue, I guess. But yeah, you get the more kind of interesting ones are the ones on the bottom, and of course the one that the figure is wearing is already the What the helmet. So there you go. There you go. Now let's get into Crystal Ball. So what do we know so far about Crystal Ball? Well, we know these courtesy of Nathan Camazel and Shaw Lu. These images popped up, of course, a while ago. Still with those red X's, hilarious. But we've got sort of like deco, like pretty obvious what the deco is on both of the exterior shots images. And then, of course, we've got the test shot in the middle from Nathan Camazel there to show you basically what the figure looks like in full. Why are you looking at his right bottom? Because I'd like to do that. Scott, I enjoyed doing that. So this is, we've got a good idea of what to expect for Crystal Ball here, because it's looking us right in the face, and we can sort of transpose that deco onto that one. I'm surprised someone hasn't done that already. They might have done. I was going to do it. I was going to transpose the deco onto the image in the middle just to see what it kind of looked like. I mean, we know what it. I mean, I'm sure you can all use your imaginations quite well here, but yeah, very excited for this figure. I think it's a really cool update to this character, and now it looks as though we have an image or images of the shield. Now this is freaking wicked. So this, like, clearly there's a cover that comes with this. And that's this with the skull and the snakes and all that kind of jazz, right? That's dope on its own. Like, it's a cool shield with a very cool element that they've added here. But you can remove that bad boy to reveal a lenticular design underneath. And apparently those snakes move through the eyes all the way around, do some cool stuff. So the lenticular is pretty interesting and cool. And yeah, a lot of hail hydras in the comments at the moment. So yeah, I really like this. This is again that kind of extra detail that they're going to in order to just like elevate something that I think we were all quite happy. Liquid Identity says glow in the dark. Could be. That one on the left could be that kind of weird plastic color. Yeah, it could be. We were all there happily just going, yeah, as long as it's a lenticular shield and they go and do this. Yes, okay, here's your lenticular shield. And how about a cover that goes over the top? That, yeah, could be glow in the dark. I don't know if it is or not, but that could very well be. Well, I might have to put a question out there to I think I can't remember who posted these. I can't remember. Someone tell me. I think I've completely forgotten actually. Anyway, by the by, it might be Jay. It might be Jay Khan actually. But yeah, it does look like it could be glow in the dark, and that would be freaking awesome. Absolutely awesome. Anyway, that's a nice little addition. Here is a close-up of the lenticular effect. As you can see, the kind of blue and yellow sort of snakes moving in and out of the eyes of the skull. Very creepy, dark, scary, you name it. It looks like there's wavy lines around the edge, line up as well with the exterior of the shield, the shape of the shield, and it looks like they'll probably lenticularly flow out like that, like so, which is really, really cool. Chris, wink 3 times if HasLab whale this year. Right, 1, I'm not going to wink 3 times because I don't know, and 2, that would be mental. White, we're just that much closer to Rumbler. Striker looks more like Crossfire without armor. Oh, that's a good point, actually, White. Yeah. Fidget spinner. Could be. Just a couple of wavy lines. I mean, there's a lot of lines going on there. It's amazing. I feel like this crystal ball will pair beautifully with Raptor. Brilliant reimaginings of 2 disappointing O-rings. How dare you, Frank? Disappointing? I love those figures, including the do-it-yourself at home wings scenario that Raptor has. Anyway, cool. Jedi Ben says, I heard no HasLab this year. Okay. From who? From whom? We'll have to... that might be one of those. What do you call it? Rumors that are indeed not really based in any fact. We'll see. I guess we'll have to find out, won't we? Anyway, there's another image here just to show you that kind of. Look at that. If I do this, it lenticularly moves. I know that isn't a word, but I'm going to do it anyway. That's really cool. That's really awesome. Anyway, that's the lenticularness of the shield. I know that's not a word either. This is cool. So we've been informed. Obviously, this is Crystal Ball's shield. That's and it's pretty obvious, isn't it? Really, let's face it. Lenticulicious. I like that, Ed. That's a nice one. Like lenticular and delicious at the same time. Retro Wild Bill says Renard Brown. Just randomly, but yes, I think that would be a good shout. That's a good shout, actually, in order to get a Wild Bill, yes. R-Shop says lenticularity. That sounds so much cleaner and probably is maybe a word. But anyway, very, very, very happy with the progress on Crystal Ball. Who's lenticular, says Paisano. I'm glad you're still playing that game, Paisano. Appreciate it very much. Who's lenticular? Right. Darren says, no HasLab for Marvel Legends, maybe, but Classified should have one. Thank you, Darren. Carl says, Thunder Machine with sound effects as a HasLab. Yes, please. We'll talk about HasLabs on another episode, but that is definitely a conversation to be had. at some point to start like speculating on what we could be seeing this year for sure. Whatever it will be GI Joe team related, because we've had our Cobra Rattler. I keep forgetting that exists. Isn't that mental? I keep forgetting that a Rattler will be at some point joining the family, and it's like, yikes. I hope they go a little bit smaller on the next one. Just stop growing to ridiculous sizes. Bring it down to about, I don't know, just bring it down a little bit, and also the price point a little bit too, and then that would be a nice thing to do, I think, for everyone this year. Are we considering the mass device divers out poor man's ketchup and mustard? No, I don't think they out ketchup, or I'm not sure if there might be a spelling out, or there might have been a typo in there, Stygian, that's confusing me with the question. But are we considering the mass device divers our poor man's ketchup and mustard? I think is what you meant to say. In which case, yeah, sort of. I guess it's up to you, really. That's an individual feeling. Haslab whale cello, says Stygian. I think we're wrong, and the shield actually goes with Megadeth album cover Viper, says Ryan Daly. Genius. Okay. Okie dokie. I heard Battle Beasts Haslab is the only one this year. Could you imagine, Paul? A Battle Beasts Haslab? What would that be? First of all, you'd need a new line of Battle Beasts, which would be cool, actually. And also maybe one of those, like the shark mouth thing, or, you know, there's a bunch of like ridiculous large scale things in the back. Well, I say large scale compared to the figures, they were large scale. Yeah, just the entire line at once, says Carl. Could you imagine? All at like 6-inch Battle Beasts, but the entire line. Wow. Anyway, let's move on. Leak listings 2025. No changes, I don't think, since we last spoke. Everything is pretty much the same. I just yellowed everything out, so we know what the public info is, or the leaked public to some degree. Some of it's leaked public, some of it is public info. Obviously, the green shirt trooper and the bat, obviously, we've put them in yellow because they're known, I guess, now. Same with Slice and Dice, but we've got the render for that, so that's why that's been unlocked. Same with the Ore Striker, same with Snake Armor, same with the Cobra Diver and the GI Joe Diver, and Breaker, of course. Although, yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see, because I'm assuming that the next event, pretty safe assumption, will be pre-orders for Frag Viper, Blowtorch, Darklon, and Footloose, right? With the possibility of other things being thrown in there as well, like maybe Law and Order, maybe Claw and Order, maybe the 60th Firefighter, maybe the next wave of retro, whatever. There's a ton of possibilities right now. I can actually see the next wave of retro, aka Tele-Viper, Flint, and Covergirl, being a little bit later. But you never know. They've done it before, where they've revealed like renders on GI Joe Day, and then most of those renders have been pre-orders following it. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility there. But yeah, there's so much coming. We've got was it Walmart Collecticon in March, in and around Toy Fair, so maybe Crystal Ball pops up around then. There's some cool stuff coming, and I can't wait, honestly. And even we've come a long way on this list as well. If you remember, there was a time when this entire list, bar I think the green now, was red. Do you remember that? Do you remember those days? Can you go back that far? Actually, I'm going to go even further than that. I think we posted the listings of these listings came out, and they were all red, I believe, when we first kind of reported on them. So we're doing well. There's still a bit of red on there, but I think after the live event and maybe Toy Fair, and then getting into like Yojo June, I think the majority of this will be unlocked, and we'll be able to see what's going on. Chris, I don't remember getting this much of 2024 revealed this early last year. The reason for that, Darren, is because it was I wasn't doing the full year on screen. So last year, 2024 was broken down into like, I want to say like 3 different graphics. So we had a bunch of listings that we were aware of. They started getting unlocked, and I would, as they got greened, I would push them off, and we would just be looking at the next lot of listings. And then 2024 eventually just had what was left. So it's harder to make a judgment on what we knew and what we didn't know. But I think you're right. I don't think at this point at the last year we knew as much of what the year had coming. And right now, look at all this. It's crazy pants. Absolutely crazy pants. Which brings me to talk about 2026. The fact we're even getting listings for that blows my mind. So yes, you might look at this and go, well, there's a lot less. That's because this is not all of them. This is just whatever has got out, leaked, whatever shown up on a shipping manifest or retailer information or whatever. It's like, this is what has leaked effectively, right? Classified just keeps going strong. What an amazing and fun line, says Jason. I have to agree on you with that one, buddy. Jason says, do we know Hasbro is going to be at Toy Fair? I didn't see them on the list of exhibitors. I believe they will be, Jason, yeah. Ed says, Hasbro typically does their own thing in NYC at the same time as Toy Fair. Yes, Ed, they do. They do a preview night sometimes, and they do a press event and all that kind of stuff, which I will be going to Toy Fair, and I will be doing something along those lines. More to follow. That's why I'm kind of saying that there'll be a presence, okay? Because obviously it's happening. I'm sure they'll reveal what the deal is with that further down the line, but like you say, there will be a presence with them at Toy Fair. Ryan says, shooting my shot, all of those 2026 figures are Star Brigade. Could you imagine? Jedi Ben says, it is going to be interesting, nerve-wracking to see what Hasbro's restructuring or whatever shakes out to be long-term. I have to agree with that. It is very unnerving. The company's like just making crazy moves, aren't they? Like, I genuinely don't like, well, I obviously don't agree with people getting laid off, especially in the way that it's done there. Like, fair enough if someone isn't doing their job for whatever reason. But in this case, it's not that isn't the problem. It's like, oh, we're just going to cut this amount of money out of our budget, and human sacrifice is the only way to do it. That obviously is terrible. But yeah, the move to Boston is scaring me, because there's a lot of talk about that, to the point where it's like definitely going to happen. I don't think, the mayor of Providence and Pawtucket and all those kind of people would be so concerned and worried and scrambling to get them a new building if it wasn't actually happening. I did say a while back, I think I was on an episode with Pat, I think it was a weekly, and we were discussing the kind of like there was like a possible option of building like a new building in I think it was Providence, very close to where the walking bridge is in Providence, which is near Plant City. If you've ever been to Providence, it's a really cool place. And like looking at the image that we had on the thing, it was like that walking bridge was like going over the water, and they had the building was going to be built like right there. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, they would not be pushing this unless it's one of those things. And I equated it to when it only really works for like soccer or like UK football, but soccer, where because we don't have there isn't the trades thing. Trades don't happen with like NFL and that kind of stuff. It's not really the same thing at all. You buy and sell players effectively, or loan them. There could be things in certain situations where players go back and forth with also money. But for the most part, it is you buy and sell players, right? And sometimes when a player's contract is coming up and they're really, really good, they'll often get their agent or whatever will kind of put out stories in the press to say that they're looking for a new challenge, or they're looking for maybe another to go somewhere else, maybe a different country, a different place in Europe or whatever. And all it is to do is to kind of make the team that currently own them, or own them is probably the right word, but currently employ them, to basically give them more money on their contract. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if this is one of those things where they're trying to force better terms by threatening to do the Boston thing, and then end up getting better, tax breaks, or I don't know what it would be, but whatever it may be, I don't know if that's what it would be the case. So in any case, I have to say that I don't know is the answer to that one. I don't think anyone does, other than the execs at Hasbro, and you ain't finding out what they want until it's years down the line and it's already happened, and you're sitting there going, oh yeah, didn't we talk about this? Anyway, it's gross though, because imagine moving your entire company significant. It's in the, I know it's in the similar, it's not different state obviously, but it's not, you're only talking about I don't know, maybe an hour travel away. But imagine what it will be like for all, and there's going to be a lot of employees that are not they have to already have a commute to get to work, and it's further away. So you expand that, they're going to have to relocate. They have families and stuff. I mean, it's crazy. So I don't know. I think that's that is I don't know if that's a good idea or not. I personally don't think they should move, but I'm not the one overseeing the books or the decisions at Hasbro, am I? So it's out of our hands. Anyway, Jamie Lynn says, hey Chris, I'm late to the party, but we happen to be wearing the same hat today. Nice one, Jamie Lynn. The Houston Oilers did and still left. So, you're talking. Okay, you're talking to each other. It's fine. You go nuts, guys. Anyway, last couple of things to go through. So this is the name only reveals that we have left, which is funny to call Crystal Ball a name only reveal when we have so much actual figure images of the figure. But technically, these are the name only reveals that are left floating around officially in the ether. Snake Eyes version 4 and Crystal Ball. No sort of sight of Snake Eyes version 4 yet, but I'm excited to see what they come up with that one. And Crystal Ball, of course, we've seen most of that figure already. Brilliant. As well as name only reveals, I'm sure this graphic is going to be updated as soon as that live event happens, of course. Lone Dragon says Hasbro moving their HQ is about as smart as a screen door on a battleship. Yeah, big time. Carl says, I wonder how many more versions of Snake Eyes until Dawn version. Yeah, I wouldn't even count Dawn as a Snake Eyes version. She's her own character, really. It's just that kind of, there's that merging of the characters in a storyline sense. But in terms of it being a version of Snake Eyes, it's not really. But I see what you're saying. I do think we need a Dawn, though. I think Dawn Moreno would be a brilliant classified figure, and I think she would sell out. I think she'd be a great figure, personally. I wonder if Snake Eyes version 4 will have a spring-loaded rocket launcher. We can only hope, Rachel. When are Law and Order and Blowtorch going up for PO, Chris? Well, Stygian, we don't know officially, but I would imagine the next live event for both of them, honestly, because that is the next. It's Frag Viper Blowtorch, forgotten already. Frag Viper Blowtorch Darklon Footloose. So I imagine those will go up for pre-order, and Law and Order probably not far behind, honestly. If not, maybe on the same. I don't know. But I would be surprised if we don't see. Well, we're going to obviously see Blowtorch because there's always a retail wave of 4 release or reveal or pre-order drop at the start of the year. Then there's one in at Yojo June, and then there's one for PulseCon. So there's always that 3 block throughout the year. I hope Snake Eyes never leaks before he's officially revealed. I kind of agree on that one, Jamie Lynn, but it is good content still. But at the same time, I agree with you. It'd be nice to have that one just surprise us. Surprise! I wish the leakers would show us Monkey Wrench. Yeah, I've not seen hide nor hair of Monkey Wrench, Chris G. Have to shout that one on that. Definitely. Jason says, Dawn Moreno, Bomb Strike, Barrel Roll, Firewall, Quinn, High Tech, bring them on, Hasbro. Do it. You'd be waiting a while for some of them, but I definitely think out of those, Dawn Moreno is a high possibility. Bomb Strike, and Barrel Roll. I think Firewall might be a bit of a stretch, and High Tech, just in terms of the kind of deep cut element of them, Jason. But I think Quinn is a good shout as well at some point, because there's a lot of cool things they could do with Quinn, and I think it would be a really cool character to really get stuck into. Who's hide nor hair, says Scott. Brilliant. Thank you for continuing that. I want the claw. Hopefully it is up for pre-order soon, says the real Zim. I know it's been that is like the longest tease ever. It's like, here's the renders, 2 renders for that as well, and some box art to get stuck into. And that was months ago. So yes, Jeremy says we just need Sonic Fighters. That would be great. Cesspool, Chris, hear me out. I don't have to hear you out, Stygian. I'm already with you. Unless you mean a Cesspool Chris, like me as Cesspool, because that would be hideous. Anyway, they're the name only reveals currently at the moment. But I will say that the digital renders page has increased to a massive amount there. Look at that. So I've even had to do it awkwardly so that you've got the Diver 2-pack sort of rocking between Joe and Cobra. Thankfully, they're on the right sides of the image. So, but look at all those digital renders. I mean, we could see a lot of this. We could see a lot of this at the live event. We could see, like I said, the wave of 4. So your Footloose, your Blowtorch, your Frag Viper, your Darklon, right? They're the 4 that I think are almost locked and loaded. They're going to happen, whether you like it or not. We're going to see that as the retail wave of 4. They'll probably be up for pre-order. Will the retro figures be up for pre-order? Maybe, but they have done it before. They've done live events and had I think 11 is the record. I think it was either 9 or 11 pre-orders was the record for a live event, and that felt a bit too much. It was like the retail wave of 4. There were 3 retro figures. There were 2 60th, and I think that was the 9. And then, I think there was a deluxe figure in there and a figure with Pet, and I think that's where I get the 11 from. I think that was in a live event once. I genuinely think that was a live event once, and it was nuts. And it was just like, there's a lot here. It might have been like a Yojo June, because that's usually when you get the most sort of like pre-order movement, I guess, with that. But it was nuts. And then they've done a 9er. They did a 9er quite recently. I think at the start of 2024, they did the 9 pre-orders, and that was the 4 retail wave of 4, the 3 retro, and then it was like a deluxe and a figure vehicle or a figure pet, and that was 9. So they've definitely given us a lot in an event in the past. I don't know that might be the way they do it this time. We might get those 4. They might get the 3 retro as well. They might even throw in, the Snake Eyes and the Polar Bear, the Claw, Law and Order. I don't know. There could be all sorts of bloody stuff going up. It's nuts. It's nuts. Anyway, anywho, there's a lot that could go up, and there it is: Law and Order, Footloose, Blowtorch, or Striker with Crankcase, Snake Eyes with Polar Bear, Legacy Firefighter, Retro Flint, Retro Covergirl, Mass Device Breaker, the Mass Device versus Diver 2-pack. That then leads us into Cobra, because it's 2 figures and one of them's Cobra. Do you like how I did there? The Claw, the Snake Armor, Slice and Dice, Darklon, Frag Viper, and Retro Tele-Viper. Wow. So one thing I will also add here as well is that I think the Snake Armor, I think there's more than meets the eye to that one. So I think the Snake Armor is going to be ridiculous. And I think that's going to be genuinely one of those things that we see and are like blown away. I think that snake arm is going to be phenomenal, and I cannot wait to see that bloody thing in real life. I think it's going to be superb. You're really curious about the prices for some of these, Wilfredo. Well, we know the prices for most of them, don't we? It's just, yeah, some of them are a little bit ambiguous. Snake Eyes and the Polar Bear is a new price point for a figure pet because the polar bear is massive, 9 inches tall, I think, when standing. So that is something we have to take into consideration. And I would imagine that will be, yeah, closer to like the 50, 60, 70. And it's a new price point, so it could be 60 something. I don't know, but that one's going to be more than your usual $44.99 for a figure pet set. The claw will probably be your trouble bubble, even though it's big. It'll probably be your trouble bubble, like your $54.99 area. Snake armor, not a clue, because that thing, I look at it and I think if that's the size I think it's going to be in like the $70 something range. It could even be more than that. So again, I don't know. I'm thinking it would be in like the HMS kind of range, but we'll have to see on that one. Slice and Dice will be $54.99 because it's a 2-pack. Legacy will be $34.99, I believe it is. Retro is $24.99, I want to say, same as the classified retail wave. Law and Order $44.99. Breaker will be, I don't know, actually that's a weird one. I'm guessing it'll just be like a regular sort of thing, you know, like maybe $24.99 again. But that'll be, I think that's Target exclusive, or as far as we know it is, on the listings that leaked ages ago. Ore Striker Crankcase, I'm guessing the same as the Vamp, so $99.99. The Diver 2-pack is going to be a 2-pack $54.99 situation. So yeah. So apparently, yeah, Breaker's $24.99. There you go. Cool. So exactly what I expected. So that will probably be what you're looking at there. The outliers are Snake Eyes and the Polar Bear and the Snake Armor, because I can't see them being normal price points. I feel like they're going to be something different for those ones. But yeah, that's an interesting conversation to have, though, going through those and kind of breaking that down, because yeah, I think that was worth doing. But that is what I expect, and I've been disappointed and I've been pleasantly surprised in the past. So we'll see how it goes. Solid lineup all the way, though. Indeed, Jedi Ben. I mean, this is not only is this like a mouth-watering selection, but there's so much. I don't know. There's so many cool things in it. I'm sorry. Not only is this a massive amount in terms of selection, but it is also extraordinarily mouth-watering, is what I meant to say. Those are the two different things that go together there, Chris. So there's a lot of it, but it's also freaking amazing. Like there isn't. I look at through all of that, and I know some of you are different. I know some of you pick and choose. Sometimes you're not like into certain characters. Sometimes you don't like certain figures, and that's totally fine. I look at that and I go, everything's so amazing. So in any case, that's your digital Renditos. Now, a couple other things I wanted to look at. First off, how amazing is that card back? This ROM is so good, and I wasn't expecting this. I was just I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe just like I don't remember seeing the packaging, is all I'm going to say, and I wasn't looking hard enough when they did whatever the previous live stream. But yeah, this card is wicked, and I'm going to have to probably get me one of these. So yeah, ROM looks great on card, and I just wanted to shout this one out because again, apparently he's available KMAC on Amazon with that too, so he's available still in some places. But yeah, White says, now that we have ROM, who else needs to be in the shared universe? Mask, Inhumanoids, and Spiral Zone gets my vote. Well, Mask and Inhumanoids, I say, well, Mask were technically combined, just as ROM was not too long ago, and always seems to be sort of in the same universe anyway. Like they've forced that for decades. Inhumanoids is a good shout, and would say, like, especially in the Sunbow universe, 100% is connected to G.I. Joe, courtesy of the ever-present Hector Garrido. No, Hector. I said Hector Garrido, the artist who did the background, who did amazing artwork on the. No, Hector Ramirez, the character who shows up in all of the Sunbow kind of like based shows. Gem, including Gem. So I have to get that Gem doll from Walmart as soon as I go into a Walmart, which doesn't really happen very often at all. Jeremy says the only one needing a shout is Banshee. I get it. I get it. Anyway, that is ROM, and I just really wanted to show that image off that people haven't seen. I love that card back. I think it's wicked. Very excited for that one. Now, also wanted to shout this out as well because I think this is important. So the wonderful folks at Codename Iowa and the Full Force, us at the Full Force, combined to bring you this awesome design for the late Aaron Dietrich, who passed away very recently. From, of course, Roma Collectible. Everyone who went to a JoeCon or any event, toy kind of show, pretty much all over the country, probably would have met or had some sort of kind of like, I don't know, any kind of meeting or experience. Experience is the proper term with Aaron. Now, we thought it'd be really cool to for the family to basically put out this cool t-shirt design where all the proceeds go to the Dietrich family, who are dealing, of course, with, you know, not just the loss, but all of the medical bills and all sorts of other things that come with this sort of horrible, tragic sort of event. So yeah, we wanted that to be, we wanted it to be really cool. We wanted to represent how awesome Aaron was and his love, of course, for the Red Shadows. And of course, the fact that I coined him Aaron Ironblood many moons ago, and a couple of times Baron Aaron Blood as well, when talking about his retail empire, Roma Collectibles. We just wanted to make sure we kind of get the word out on this one. You can find the link on our social platforms, on Facebook, on all of the platforms we're on, Threads and X and pretty much everything that we're on. You'll find a link to the Codename Iowa site, or you could just go to codenameiowa.com, go to the store, and this will be right at the top. It's $25 plus shipping, of course. So if you want to get in on that one, it's obviously for a great cause, and like I said, all the proceeds go to the Dietrich family. Okay, that's pretty much all to talk about now. I will be back more likely, unless anything really crazy drops in the next between now and Friday. We'll probably be back for. Let me just. We'll probably be back on Saturday for the weekly. So, yeah. CH says, I wonder if Snake armor might be classified as test take on the Marvel Legends Dragon Man MTO method. Do you know what? That's not a bad shout. That's not a bad shout at all. Could be. I just had to read that one because actually that is something that, you know, that's a possibility for sure. I'm not going to poo-poo that, of course. I'm not that I do that anyway, but you know what I mean. Rachel says, hopefully Skeletron will do an Aaron figure. You never know. You never know. Jason, Chris, what do you think are the chances we might get some Energon Universe announcements this year, like Risk or better yet, Chameleon? That wouldn't be a bad. I think it'd be more likely in those 2026 listings where we don't have anything. It's a possibility that, you know, something along those lines might be Energon Universe related, because from what I can tell, in talking to the guys before, when we've been doing the interviews, and when I've asked them about the Energon Universe and the Skybound comics, they're very excited about them and they love them, but it doesn't sound like they're in full tandem. They're sharing files and they're communicating and stuff, but in a sense of like that sort of, you see it in the comic book, you see it as a toy, hasn't really lined up yet. And I think that's really just down to the fact that just the way these things work, comics you can churn out a little bit quicker than you can an action figure, and I think that, you know, there might be one of those things of, we'll see how things pan out before we start, tying these two things together. And it looks like it's going to be more the case of the comics were going to be reflecting what is available, and what isn't available, they're going to be doing their best to kind of fill in some gaps. And then every now and again, there might be a bit of crossover where Skybound might feed into the Classified team and Classified might feed into the Skybound kind of look. So that's kind of what it's probably more likely going to happen. Now, I would imagine that given the time that these things take to, happen, 2026 would be a much more not appropriate, but much more kind of like I would expect it, but much a more expected outcome than seeing anything in 2025. But I don't know. There's some really cool characters in the Skybound. In fact, the Skybound universe is insane. Like the Energon universe is great. The A Real American Hero is like back on form again. I'm just loving the comics right now. Absolutely loving the comics. Scott says Nemi was pretty serendipitous. Yes, and that they've even said that themselves. Like, yeah, it wasn't like they did a thing and we were like, yeah, that's really cool. Here's some more visuals of what we're working on, so you can maybe tweak it a little bit. So yeah, they did talk about that, I think, in the interview. It was really cool. The other thing I will say is that obviously following probably in early March, we should be interviewing the Hasbro team again. So very excited to have a full-on interview with Tony and Lenny and Tony again, and we can talk about all the new stuff that's dropped early in the year and all that kind of good stuff. So there you go. Okay, I'm going to call it a day. Thank you very much for joining me on this episode of the Full Force News Burst Live. Like I said, I will be back on Saturday unless anything very pressing happens. And of course, we've got loads to talk about on the weekly, not just the stuff I've yapped about today, and of course the stuff from G.I. Joe Day that obviously we missed on the last weekly. We'll briefly cover some of the main points, I will say, because obviously we went into a lot of detail with both of these over the last couple of days, the last week or so. So we'll ease that back on that in terms of the content on the weekly, but we'll be talking. We've got more Gridiron stuff to talk about. We've got more Fans Hobby stuff to get into. Again, all Ore Striker related, but we've got all that to get stuck into. Loads of other bits and bobs as well. We'll be back. We'll see you then. Apologies for the beginning of the episode not being mic'd up. That was entirely me being an idiot and forgetting to do it. I have a process, and sometimes I get excited and just want to go live and forget that I've messed up. So I'll see you guys on Saturday, most likely. Stay fresh, cheese bags, and as always, after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3. Full force. Laters.
That's it for this installment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, Full Force.
Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos. And as always, you can keep up with the show after listening by following on all of our social platforms, links in the description. And if you would like to contact the show, you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback or questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.